Arch Manning avoided coming to Alabama and Georgia? I saw this unexpected news and I think he made a huge mistake. He could have had a lot of potential at Bama. Let's evaluate this news, but first subscribe to the channel. Arch Manning may believe that he found the ideal environment for his privacy in Texas, but it's impossible not to look at this decision and think about the huge opportunities he missed by avoiding Alabama and Georgia. There's no getting around the fact, he gave up playing for programs that are synonymous with success, development, and constant competition for national titles. In the case of Alabama, the loss is even more evident. The Crimson Tide is not only an elite program, it's a place where quarterbacks enter as prospects and leave as NFL stars. Bryce Young, Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, the list goes on. And with Kalen DeBoer taking over, the offense is only going to evolve even more. The new coach's track record in developing quarterbacks was already impressive in Washington, and with the talent Alabama attracts year after year, that trend is not changing. Manning would have the chance to be molded into a powerful offensive scheme, surrounded by the best players in the country and under the tutelage of one of the best coaching staffs in college football. His reason for avoiding Alabama? He wanted a place where he could blend in, where he wouldn't be recognized all the time. But let's be honest, Arch Manning will never be an anonymous name in college football, no matter where he plays. The Manning name carries a lot of weight, and the idea that he could escape the spotlight in Austin, a city of nearly 1 million people, while Tuscaloosa and Athens were too big in that sense, simply doesn't hold water. More than that, this choice raises a fundamental question: is a quarterback who avoids a hyper-competitive environment truly ready for the highest level of the sport? Alabama isn't for everyone. The Tide are looking for players who want to be in the thick of things, who thrive under pressure, and who understand that playing at Bryant-Denny Stadium isn't about comfort, it's about glory. Manning chose a different path, and now he'll have to prove that his decision was the right one. Meanwhile, Alabama continues its mission to continue dominating the recruiting race and developing elite quarterbacks. With Kalen DeBoer at the helm, Tide fans can rest assured that the program is in good hands and will continue to compete for titles, with or without Arch Manning. He had the chance to be a part of something special, but he decided to go another way. Time will tell if that was a wise choice or just a great opportunity wasted. At the end of the video, I want to hear your thoughts on this situation. The Alabama Crimson Tide once again position themselves at the forefront of the college football landscape, not only for their performance on the field, but also for the ways in which their players are seizing opportunities off the field. The recent news of a group licensing agreement for video games, led by Pathway Sports and Entertainment, is a significant milestone that puts Alabama players at the center of discussions about the future of monetization in college sports. And of course, it only reinforces how much the Alabama program is always ahead of the curve, whether in terms of achievements on the field or in initiatives that benefit its athletes. Ryan Williams, the Crimson Tide's talented wide receiver, was one of the most prominent voices in this new venture. He summed up the importance of the deal well by saying that Pathway is helping players secure their fair share of royalties from a billion-dollar market driven by globally beloved video games. This statement echoes something that many fans and analysts have long suspected: the earning potential of these athletes goes far beyond what we see on the scoreboard. Now, they're starting to be recognized for the value they bring to the sport as cultural and commercial icons. The deal, described as the largest in the history of the industry by Yahoo Sports, offers tangible financial guarantees. Each player receives $1,500 up front, with the promise of future royalties. For someone like Ryan Williams, who has already emerged as a key player in Alabama's offense under coach Kalen DeBoer, this is more than just a financial bonus. It's a validation of the impact he and his teammates have on the game and the culture around it. It's no exaggeration to say that Alabama is once again leading a trend, showing that its athletes are not just sports stars, but also marketable stars. Pathway has already signed more than 450 players from a variety of universities, including such big names as Georgia, Texas Tech, and Wisconsin. But the fact that Alabama was so deeply involved from the beginning reflects the prestige and influence of the program. The Crimson Tide is not just a football team, it's a global brand. And that mindset of innovation and leadership is something that Kalen DeBoer and his team have embraced wholeheartedly. Under his leadership, Alabama has demonstrated that it can compete in every aspect, both on the field and in negotiations off it. Furthermore, the outspoken support for the NIL movement by athletic directors and college coaches is a clear sign that the sport is evolving. Casey Schwab, an executive with the NFLPA and part of Pathways' leadership team, noted that most coaches and officials want to support their players so that they can earn legitimate profits. That's something Alabama seems to have understood perfectly. The program not only encourages its athletes to explore these opportunities, but also creates an environment where they can thrive while still focusing on what really matters, on-field performance. It's worth noting that last year, EA Sports negotiated directly with players for the release of College Football 25, paying each player $600. When you compare that to the new deal, it's clear that values are rising, as is awareness of the true value of these athletes. Alabama is once again ahead of the curve, showing that its players are not just participants in this emerging market, but protagonists in it. For Crimson Tide fans, this news is yet another reason to be proud. It's not just about seeing their players shine on Saturday afternoons, it's also about knowing that they're being treated with the respect and dignity they deserve. Alabama has always been synonymous with excellence in college football, and now it's proving that it's also a leader when it comes to paving new paths for its athletes. While other schools are still figuring out how to navigate this new world of NIL, Alabama is already reaping the rewards. With players like Ryan Williams leading the charge, it's clear that the future of the program isn't just bright, it's inevitable. And as always, the Crimson Tide is leading the way. And Bama basketball. Saturday will be one of those days that will go down in college basketball history. Alabama and Auburn, the two best teams in the country right now, will face off in a matchup that carries not only a rivalry, but also a real weight in the race for the SEC and the national rankings. Never before have the two best teams in the country faced each other in a regular season conference game. That changes now. And if there's one team that comes in with the advantage, it's the Crimson Tide. The numbers show that Alabama has slight advantages in some crucial areas, especially on offense. Nate Oates' team has an elite offensive efficiency, converting 60.8% of its two-point shots, which places it as the second-best team in the country in that regard. Auburn is also strong in that area, but the Tigers shoot 56.6%, which places them in 22nd place. Small details can make all the difference in such a tight game. Another area where Alabama excels is in the offensive rebounding game. The Crimson Tide is rebounding at 37%, compared to Auburn's 36.2%. That may not seem like much, but in a game where every possession counts, it could be the difference between a win and a loss. Defense can also be a factor. Auburn has a stronger interior defense, but Alabama is better at protecting the three-point line, allowing just 29.3% of its opponent's shots from distance, which ranks 14th nationally. The Tigers aren't that far behind, allowing 30.4%, but again, the Crimson Tide has the edge. And when it comes to individual player impact, Alabama stands out when it comes to offensive efficiency. Clifford Omoruyi has the highest offensive rating of anyone who will be on the court, ranking 22nd nationally. Additionally, Mark Sears and LeBaron Philon are dominating in assist rates, an indication that Alabama's offense is more dynamic and better distributed. What does all this mean? This is a game that could go either way, but Alabama comes in with the right pieces to come out on top. And beating Auburn in any circumstance is a big deal. Beating Auburn when both are ranked at the top of the country? That would be a milestone. Coleman Coliseum will be packed, and Nate Oates knows he has a team ready for that kind of moment. Auburn has quality, it has a strong team, but Alabama has everything it needs to come out of this game with a win that not only strengthens its position in the SEC, but also sends a clear message to the rest of the country: the Crimson Tide are here to fight for the top. The Alabama Crimson Tide's 2024 season will go down as one of the most challenging and intriguing chapters in the program's recent history. It wasn't just the team's performance on the field that caught everyone's attention, but also how the team handled adversity and changes throughout the year. Now, this journey full of ups and downs will be portrayed in a documentary miniseries titled The Tides That Bind: Inside Alabama Football, announced by Fox Nation. The series promises to take viewers inside the locker room, the strategy meetings, and even the team's most intimate moments, offering an unprecedented look at how the Crimson Tide navigated a year of transition. With 6 episodes scheduled to be released weekly, the miniseries begins with a behind-the-scenes look at the win over Georgia, one of the rare bright spots in a season that ended with a 9-4 record, something unthinkable by Alabama standards. That milestone marked the Crimson Tide's first year without at least 10 wins since Nick Saban's first season in 2007, a statistic that in itself raises questions about the current state of the program. But as is often the case in college football, the numbers don't tell the whole story. And that's exactly what The Tides That Bind seems to want to explore: what really happened behind the scenes during this turbulent period. Fox Nation President Lauren Patterson said the series will provide an intimate, behind-the-scenes look at Alabama's storied program as it navigates the challenges of a year in transition. And transition is the operative word here. Since Kalen DeBoer took over as head coach, Alabama has been in a period of adjustment. The second episode of the series, for example, will focus on DeBoer and include details about the team's shocking loss to Vanderbilt, a game that epitomized some of the underlying problems the team has faced. For fans, seeing these moments from a new perspective can help them better understand what happened and, perhaps, fuel hope for the future. Another interesting aspect of the series is the focus on key players on the roster, such as Malachi Moore, Jalen Milroe, and Ryan Williams. These players represent different facets of the team: defensive leadership, offensive potential, and the resilience needed to overcome adversity. The inclusion of Ryan Williams, who has also been in the spotlight recently due to nil licensing agreements, reinforces how Alabama is trying to balance the athletic development of its athletes with opportunities off the field. This is crucial in an era where a program's success is about more than just wins and losses. The series will also cover changes made after the season, such as the hiring of Ryan Grubb as offensive coordinator. Grubb, who initially followed DeBoer from Washington, ultimately opted for an NFL opportunity with the Seattle Seahawks, leaving questions about how Alabama's offense will shape up in 2025. These decisions, often made behind the scenes, have a direct impact on the team's performance, and the miniseries seems intent on showing that in a transparent way. The Fox Nation release states that the production will include footage from spring practice through the postseason, covering virtually every aspect of the 2024 season. That means viewers will be treated to moments ranging from the early build-up to the heartbreak of the ReliaQuest Bowl, where Alabama ended the year with a loss. This kind of full-length narrative is rare in college sports, and the fact that Alabama is opening the door to such a project demonstrates confidence, or perhaps a need, to reconnect with its fan base after a difficult year. For Crimson Tide fans, 2025 is already generating renewed anticipation. The team will make its public debut on April 12 with the traditional A-Day game at Bryant-Denny Stadium. The regular season will begin on August 30, when Alabama will face Florida State in Tallahassee. These next steps will be crucial in determining whether the lessons learned in 2024 can be translated into success on the field. In the meantime, The Tides That Bind offers a unique opportunity to better understand what happened last year. For many, it may be difficult to accept a season that fell short of the standard of excellence that Alabama has set over the decades. However, by opening the door to such an in-depth and honest analysis, the program shows that it is still committed to evolving and remaining competitive. And after all, isn't that ability to adapt and overcome truly what defines the Crimson Tide spirit? I want to hear your thoughts.